Hello, and welcome to another lesson from Level Up Mathematics. In today's lesson, we will be looking at how to solve multi-step equations. Before we do that, let's talk about what a solution to an equation is. So a solution to an equation is a value of a variable that is true when the value is substituted into the equation. When we solve an equation, that means to find the value of the variable that would make the equation true. So in example 1, it says determine whether each of the following values for the given variables is a solution to the given equation. So our equation here is 2x plus 3 equals 17. And they want to know, is x equals 7 a solution? So what we do is we use a process called substitution, and we replace our variable with a parenthesis. So instead of 2x plus 3, you'll have 2 parentheses plus 3 equals 17. That's our equation. And we want to know, if I plug a 7 in here, would my equation now be true? Would that value make the equation true? Well, let's look at it. So I'll put this in my calculator, 2 parentheses 7 plus 3. Does that equal 17? And yes, it does. So this is true. So x equals 7 is a solution. All right, in problem B, we have m minus 20 divided by 5 is equal to negative 4. And they want to know, is 10 a solution to this equation? So the first thing I'm going to do is put parentheses for my variable and write down the equation. Now we'll substitute in the value they gave me, which is 10, and let's see if this makes the equation true. So let's make a fraction bar here. 10 minus 20, and then on the bottom we want a 5. So that is negative 2. So negative 2 does not equal negative 4. So m equals 10 is not a solution to the equation. M equals 10 is not a solution to this equation. Now, in problem C, we have 2 times the quantity n plus 5 is equal to 6 times the quantity n minus 1. And they want to know, is n equals 4 a solution? Now, in this problem, I want you to notice there's a variable on each side of the equal sign. So what that means is we'll have 2 parentheses, and we'll plug a 4 in for this n, plus 5 equals 6 parentheses. We'll do the same thing on the other side, 4 minus 1. So everywhere we see an n, we're going to replace the n with a 4. So let's look at this. We'll put this in our calculator, 2 parentheses, 4 plus 5. Whoops. And then that is equal to 18. And then the other side, 6 parentheses 4 minus 1. And that's equal to 18. So this side was equal to 18, and this side was equal to 18. That is true. So n equals 4 is a solution to the equation. N equals 4 is a solution to the equation. All right, pause the video and try problem D on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. In this problem, I plugged in an 8 for the value of x on both sides of the equation. And then I just put that in my calculator. 3/4 times 8 minus 1. I got that value. And then I did negative 1/2 times 8 plus 9, and I got 5. So this side was equal to 5, and this side was equal to 5. Therefore, x equals 8 is a solution to the equation. Now, when we're solving a multi-step equation, what we want to do in step 1 is, if necessary, simplify the equation so it's in the form ax plus b equals c. And I'll explain more what that means in just a minute. Then in step 2, you'll use inverse operations to isolate the unknown variable. And step 3, we check our solution. Now, I usually just check my solution on the calculator. If your teacher requires that you show your check step, then please be sure to show your check step, all right? All right, in problem A, we have 1.25 times the quantity 4x minus 10 is equal to 7.5. So right now, we do not have our equation in the form ax plus b equals c because we have parentheses. So what we want to do is use our distributive property to remove those parentheses. So I'll use my calculator. 1.25 times 4 would give me 5x. And then 1.25 times negative 10 would give me minus 12.5 is equal to 7.5. So now we have it in the proper form, and we're going to use inverse operations. So start with the term that's not attached to the x. So start with the negative 12.5. The opposite of negative 12.5 is plus 12.5. So we'll add that to both sides. All right, so I'll drop the 5x. This would zero out. And then we have 7.5 plus 12.5, which gives us 20. And then divide both sides by 5. So that would give me 20 divided by 5 would give me 4. So to check your solution, you're going to take what your answer that you got. We got x equals 4. And I'll put 1.25 parenthesis 4. Instead of 4x, I'll put my solution, which was 4. 4 times 4 minus 10. And that equals 7.5. So we checked it. We did get the correct solution here. All right. Problem B. We have the opposite of the quantity 6m plus 8 plus 4m is equal to 68. So here, you might want to put a negative 1 here. Here we're going to be distributing a negative 1. So negative 1 times 6m is negative 6m. Negative 1 times 8 is negative 8 plus 4m equals 68. Now, look at the form we're trying to get this in. We want to get this in this form where we have two terms on the left side. Right now, I have 3 terms. So I still need to simplify this a little further by combining like terms. All right. So negative 6m plus 4m is negative 2m minus 8 equals 68. Now look, we have 2 terms here, negative 2m and minus 8 on one side, and a constant term on the other. So now we're going to start with inverse operations. Start with the number that's not attached to a variable. So I'll start with the minus 8. The opposite of minus 8 is plus 8. So we'll add 8 to both sides. So negative 2m, this would zero out, equals 76. And then divide both sides by negative 2. So 76 divided by negative 2 gives me negative 38. All right, to check it, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put negative parenthesis 6 times your answer, which was negative 38, plus 8, close parenthesis, plus 4 times whatever your answer was, negative 38. And that should equal 68, and it does. So this one also checks out, and we can box it in. All right, now be very careful on problem C. We have 5 plus 4 times the quantity, n plus n, is equal to negative 3. The biggest mistake I see students make on this problem is that they try to add the 5 and the 4. But remember, according to the operations, we always do parentheses first. So draw your little arrows there first. So it'll help you remember not to add the 5 and the 4 together. All right? So drop your 5 and we'll multiply first. So 4 times n gives us 4n. 4 times 9 gives us 36, and that's equal to negative 3. Now, we know we have a little more work to do because we have 3 terms on the left side, and we need 2 terms. So I'm going to combine the 5 and the 36 together to get 4n plus 41 equals negative 3. Now we can use our inverse operations. So I'm starting with the term that's not attached to the variable. So to get rid of positive 41, we would subtract 41. So drop your 4n down. This zeroes out. And this would be negative 44. And then divide. So n is equal to negative 11. Now we're going to check that answer. So 5 plus 4, parenthesis, negative 11 plus 9, close parentheses, and that does equal negative 3, so it checks out, so I know it's a solution. All right, pause the video and try problem D on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. So the first thing I did was I distributed my negative 4. So negative 4 times D is negative 4D. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. And that equals 23. Then I combine like terms. So negative 4D plus 19 equals 23. Now that I have 2 terms on the left side, I can solve this by subtracting 19. So negative 4D equals 23 minus 19 gives me 4. Then divide both sides by negative 4. And that gives me negative 1. Now let's check my solution here. So when I plug this in, I should get 23. Let's see if we do. 7 minus 4 parenthesis. Plug in your solution, negative 1 minus 3, close parenthesis, and that does equal 23. So negative 1 makes that equation true. All right, pause the video and try problem E on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. So I did the parentheses first to get negative 11x plus 22 was equal to negative 8. Then I combined like terms. 8x minus 11x gave me negative 3x plus 22 is equal to negative 8. Now that I have 2 terms on the left side, I'm ready to use inverse operations. So subtracting 22, I get negative 3x. This zeroes out. And I guarantee you, many of you, hopefully not all of you, but many of you probably made a mistake on this next part when you combine negative 8 with negative 22. So negative 8 minus 22 is negative 30. So be careful to check your work right there. That's a very common error the students make. Divide that by negative 3. And a negative 30 divided by negative 3 gives you positive 10. To check my answer, I said 8 times negative 10 minus 11, parenthesis, negative 10 minus 2. This should equal negative 8. Oh, I put in negative 10. So sorry. I didn't get negative 10 for an answer. I got positive 10. Excuse me. All right, when I put in positive 10, it does check out. And that's why it's important to check your work. All right, problem F. 20y plus 5 times the quantity 1 minus y is equal to 80. Pause the video and try this problem on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. I got 20y plus 5 minus 5y is equal to 80. Then I combined like terms. 20y minus 5y gave me 15y plus 5 was equal to 80. Then I used my inverse operations by subtracting 5. So 15y was equal to 75. And then I divided both sides by 15. And I got 5. When I checked my work, I said 20 times y, or 20 times 5, plus 5 parenthesis, 1 minus 5, close parenthesis, and it does equal 80, so it checks out. All right, problem G. Now, lots of students get nervous when there's a fraction in the problem. Don't be nervous. Hopefully, most of you, your teacher will allow you to use your calculator to multiply these. So we have 3/4 times 12 gives me 9x. So 3/4 times 12x gives me 9x. Then 3/4, let's change that 12 to a negative 24, and that gives me minus 18. Drop the 5x down, equals, I believe that says negative 20. All right. Now, we have 3 terms on the left side. We need to turn that into 2 terms. So I can combine 9x minus 5x to get 4x minus 18 is equal to negative 20. Now we can use inverse operations. Add 18. So we get 4x equals negative 2, and then divide by 4. Now be very careful when you write your solution here, because a lot of students will try to tell me the answer is negative 2. But when you put this in your calculator, negative 2, and divide it by 4, you get negative 1/2, or negative 0.5. So this should be negative 1/2. Now let's check it. So to check it, I'm going to say 3/4, side arrow, parenthesis 12 times negative 0.5. I'm going to use a decimal because it's easier to type in. Negative 0.5 minus 24, close parenthesis. Did I do something wrong? All right, so I did not get negative 20. So that means I must have a mistake in my answer. Or I typed it in wrong. 3/4, 12 times negative 0.5 minus 24. Oh, I did type it in wrong. I forgot the... Okay, here's what I forgot. I'm glad this actually happened so that I could show you this. This is a very common mistake, and I did the same thing. I did not see that minus 5x when I was checking my solution. So I have to do minus 5 times x, which we got to be negative 0.5. Now we're getting negative 20. So it does indeed check it out as long as you type it in the calculator correctly. All right, problem H. We have n minus 0.25 times the quantity 12 minus 8n minus 2n. So I want to be sure and do the multiplication here first before I do anything else. So drop the n down, and you're going to multiply everything in the parentheses by negative 0.25. So negative 0.25 times 12 gives me negative 3. And then negative 0.25 times negative 8 gives me positive 2n minus 2n is equal to negative 12. Now we'll combine like terms because I want you to notice I have 3 n's that can be divided. So combined. So n plus 2n is 3n, and 3n minus 2n is 1n. Whoops, I don't want to put my pen back. So that would be 1n minus 3 equals negative 12. Now that you have 2 terms, you can use inverse operations. So add your 3, add your 3. So n equals negative 9. Now to check this, I'll put this in my original problem. So we have negative 9 minus 0.25 parenthesis 12 minus 8 times negative 9 close parenthesis minus 2 times negative 9. And if we do this right, we should get negative 12. And we did. So it checks out. So n equals negative 9. And that concludes today's lesson on solving multi-step equations.